This episode of the WrapIQ podcast is brought to you by Avery Dennison and their new line of paint protection films. Their high-performance films are constructed from enhanced polyurethane and provide exceptional scratch resistance, self-healing, and supreme visual finishes. Neo Noir Gloss Black PPF is a wet-apply hybrid PPF that puts a spin on paint protection film and color change restyling. Protect factory paint from stone chips while transforming any vehicle with a high-gloss black finish. Supreme Defense Matte maintains the pristine factory condition of vehicles, is easy to apply, and ensures outstanding aesthetics with a smooth matte finish. Coming soon is their Supreme Defense Clear PPF, an ultra-gloss, high-transparency film that won't yellow, peel, or blister, and comes with an outstanding 10-year durability and weathering protection. The hydrophobic top coat repels water, dust, and debris on the vehicle surface for easy cleaning and low maintenance. For more information, visit graphics.averydennison.com/PPF. This episode of the WrapIQ podcast is also brought to you by the one and only Wrapglove and the Wrapglove Ghost. In my professional opinion, the Wrapglove Ghost should be a staple in every installer's toolbox. No matter if you are in the tinting, paint protection films, or the wrap markets, this tool will make you a better and more efficient installation specialist. Wrapglove Ghost is proudly made in the USA, is incredibly lint-free and static-resistant. Safety is important in every professional shop, so that's why Wrapglove Ghost is also cut-resistant, carrying an A2 cut resistance rating. Wrapglove Ghost is the original application glove and can be found in all your current distributors. You can also find them online at wrapglove.com or on social media at Wrapglove. John Duever. This is the WrapIQ podcast. Welcome. As always, I am joined by my co-host, Blake Madsen. Blake, how are you, sir?
Hey, good. What's up, JD?
Not much, man. Another day in paradise. Another day. What's another cliche? Love and life.
Yeah. All right. What do you want to talk about here?
Today, I think this episode, I want to talk about the absolute BS that goes on social media about this. Everyone looks at the negative first, and it's a freaking disease at this point, and it's very important that we talk about this, kind of bring it to light, and kind of get your thoughts on it, get my thoughts on it, and provide some solutions to not be such a negative Nancy all the damn time. And I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about like the feeling in general in our industries. It's like it's a race to see who can out the person first of, if someone did something wrong, or let's say someone, ruins a wrap, or someone does something incorrect, or someone burns somebody or anything. It's like, people make mistakes, but people don't give them the benefit of the doubt ever. And it's almost like the opposite. It's guilty till proven innocent at this point, as opposed to innocent till proven guilty when that's how it should be. That's the American way, Yeah.
Well, being negative and picking out other people's flaws, it's just it's the path of least resistance, right? It's easy.
It is easy.
People do what's easy, and it's way easier to pick apart somebody else's shit than to do something yourself. So
Have you noticed that people that focus on the negative of everyone else are the most insecure people in those industries or on that forum?
It's the one be that way, yeah.
It's the ones that always, they're gonna have a wrap, but they're never gonna show detailed pictures, but they're gonna talk all this shit on someone that has a corner pop up or someone that has a failure, and it's annoying, man. It's annoying. I'm to the point now where like I feel like it needs to be talked about.
Right.
Like, what the fuck? Like, why is it that culture nowadays thinks that finding the negative about what someone does and being the first, it's not just finding the negative, it's being the first person to find the negative and then fucking whistle blow it to everybody. Like, look at what John Duever did. This dumb shit did this, and this. And it's like, first off, no matter what the problem is, you don't know the full story. You're taking things at face value. So if you looked into a full story of something that went wrong with somebody, whatever it may be, there's probably a pretty darn good explanation of why something went wrong or why some negative thing happened. I just don't understand why it's popular right now to be that negative person, to find, why not say, hey, did you see this guy just sold this massive job, just got a fleet of 500 vehicles, just did a fleet of Tesla color changes that was 20 vehicles and it was absolutely amazing. No, you don't see that positive.
Yeah, again, for a lot of people, it's much easier to look at that situation and say, hey, why isn't that me? How come I didn't get that fleet?
Let me tell you why.
It's not right. I don't know why it is, but that's how it goes.
Listen, those people aren't getting that stuff because they're not putting the fucking work in.
Right.
That's why. And they're insecure about the facts that they're not putting the work in. They're not where they want to be. So they're finding negatives on everyone else. So that way people it puts up this cloak around them like, hey, I'm perfect. But in reality, they're just so insecure and they know for a fact they're not in the spot that they want to be or where they think they should be. That's what it is.
Yep.
And I'm not sitting here preaching from a mountaintop saying, hey, look at me. I'm saying I'm not in the spot I should be in either. But right. You don't hear me dogging people. If I dog somebody, it's because they did something to me.
Right. I've been guilty of this in the past for sure, especially nitpicking other people's work. When I was, a few years into installing, I would nitpick any wrap I would ever find in the parking lot. And I thought it was great and I thought it was fun. But it took years and years and years to start seeing vehicles that I did come back 3 years later, 5 years later. Yep. And you start to get the whole picture and you learn more. It was perfect when it left and you see your own work come back and it's maybe not so perfect. You see some things lifting. You start you start going easier on everybody. You're more understanding. You realize that, hey, nobody's perfect. And even if you thought you nailed it, it may not be that way in 5 years.
Dude, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. I see. I'm not sure if I've ever had something come back. Well, first off, a perfect wrap never exists. It does not exist.
No,
it's impossible. So anyone that's like, oh, I did it and it was perfect. No, it wasn't. Okay. No, it wasn't. And you could be literally the best rapper in the entire world. You can have the most experience in the entire world. Nothing you've ever done is perfect. It's just not. It's an imperfect product. You are literally in an industry of imperfection. It's not possible to be perfect. There'll be some sort of a little paint, chip, or there'll be some sort of a wrinkle on a corner or something somewhere. Nothing is ever perfect. And but that's the point. You could have a 95, 98% perfect wrap, and literally to the layman, to the naked eye, it is perfect. But these motherfuckers in this industry and some people in this industry are going to go and they're going to find that 2%, that 1%, and they're going to focus on that, take a screenshot of it and put it on social media and be like, look what John Duever did. He claims to be great, but look at this corner. Look at this one spot behind the taillight. Come on.
That sounded awfully specific.
Well, I could have said, look at this wrinkle in the hood. It doesn't matter. I've done it all. I've made every mistake you can make. So
it just sounded like a very specific example.
No. It wasn't. It was not at all.
All right.
It was not at all. There's been one time that I was kind of put on blast. And, again, it comes back to the fact that you don't know the full story. You just don't know the full story of what happened. And I'll tell you what the fuck happened to me. The Wrap Police sent me a message of a video, or not a video, a screenshot of a message that they got of a very well-known person in this industry screenshotted something on my page, and it was on my motorcycle. I have a bobber that I love. I've had it for a very long time, and I've wrapped it a few times. Well, the both times I've wrapped it, I've used sign gold leaf sign vinyl on a tank. You know what I mean? It's very hard to do. Well, it's a little bit overstretched to make it work because it's non-air regress, super aggressive adhesive, and it's very difficult to work with. So going up around the tank opening, you know what I mean? It's a bobber, 1981 bobber, like gas kind of leaks out of the tank a little bit, and it seeped out of the tank and got into that vinyl, and it caused the vinyl to fail. Well, this person zoomed in on it and sent it to Wrap Police, like, hey, John Duever fucking made this mistake. And Wrap Police sent it to me, and they're like, hey, I just want you to know that this person outed you. I'm like, all right, on, thank you. But my point is that person didn't know the whole story.
Yeah.
It did look good. Gasoline got on it. Gasoline ate the adhesive and it failed. Like, what am I supposed to do at that point? You know? What am I supposed to do? It's just annoying. You know what I mean? You don't know the full story. You never know the full story. You never know. Only the person that did the install knows the full story. And there's normally a justification for why something failed or why it happened. I'm not saying every time. I'm saying most times. You know, it's the temperature was wrong, the humidity was wrong, that wasn't post heated, something that, you know, it was rushed. You never know who's rushed and who's not rushed.
Right. Well, this whole attitude of calling people out, or this person calling you out, whatever, it's kind of based in negativity. What about pages like the Wrap Police, where that's the entire focus, is just basically calling out bad raps? What do you think about that?
I personally like the Wrap Police. Okay. I think it's okay. I think that there are different levels of what they're doing. That's okay. And some can be better, some can be worse. But I believe that the intention is there. Like, I like the fact that I see people comment on their posts and say, man, I hope my work never shows up on here. Like, I'm working harder. What that says to me is I'm working harder. I'm taking trainings. I'm watching videos. I'm trying to better myself so I don't end up on the Wrap Police page.
Yeah,
that is a positive. That's a positive. That's a very good thing. So, you know, the people that do get put on blast on there, like, dude, they're like, it seems like now the stuff that's on there, like today, you know, December 19th, 2020, you know, the last months of posts are like really, really bad stuff that, like, it's blatant. Like, you shouldn't be rapping. Like, right. Straight up, you should not be rapping. You know, but at the beginning, it was kind of nitpicky. And I think that nitpicky stuff could come off as a negative. I really do. Because, you know, again, you never know the full story. Yeah. But some of the stuff that's on there is like, dude, like, come on. Like, you put a patch in the middle of a hood. Like, that's, well, like, what are you doing? You know, what are you doing?
Yeah, I think a lot of that stuff is probably do-it-yourself kind of guys.
Yes. But do-it-yourself kind of guys, you know, watch a video or two.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
does a do-it-yourself guy need to get called out?
Good question. Maybe.
I think if you're selling vinyl wraps and you're doing bad work, there's definitely room there. If you're a do-it-yourself guy, and it, like you're saying, it's back to that premise that you don't know. You don't know the story. You don't know who did it or with what or what the conditions were. So maybe it is just a do-it-yourself guy, and he did it himself at home. He thought vinyl wrap looks cool, and he wanted to give it a try. I think that's a good thing.
Interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. That's a very interesting point that I honestly have never thought about.
I have a lot of slack for do-it-yourself guys that are trying to learn themselves.
Yeah, that's a very good point. That is a very good point. So if you are a do-it-yourself guy, you know, I could see a negative there. If you're a do-it-yourself guy, you did a hack job your first time, and you go around, you get blasted on Wrap Police, or you get blasted on a social media page, wherever it may be. You know, that could take all the wind out of your sails, and then all of a sudden you don't want to do it, or you change careers. So yeah, I could see that could be a very negative thing. Absolutely. Especially if you don't have the confidence moving forward into it.
I just think it's a cool thing that we're in an industry where people think it's cool enough that they just want to try it themselves at home, like for fun. Like, that's a cool thing. We should encourage that, because let's face it, those people, they're not a threat, you know, in a business sense.
No, not at all.
However, anyway, if a guy is considering wrapping his car himself at home, he was never going to come to me and pay the money it takes to have his car done at my shop.
Very true. Very true. And I think one of the things about, you know, kind of to talk about Wrap Police again, like, and kind of get that off the table, like, I think it's a good thing, but what you just said is a very valid point. You know what I mean? That in that respect that you just described, I would say it's a negative thing. You know, I would say that any sort of, website or any sort of page that outs people that are beginners that could take the wind out of their sails and make them decide to not do it in the long run, that's a negative thing.
Yeah.
It is. But I think generally speaking, I'm in support of Rap Police. I think it's cool. I think whoever it is witty as hell and funny. Like some of their posts are hilarious. It's very obvious that they have feuds with numerous people.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely entertaining. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. The entertainment value is definitely there. I find myself watching their stories and looking at their posts all the time. I watch their story more so than the posts. But regardless, here nor there. I think it's cool. You do bring up a valid point, though. You know what I mean? I really like what you said there. I think that's cool.
Well, it sounds like most things in life, there's good and there's bad.
Yeah. And again, you never know the whole story. But with that being said, not knowing the whole story, our industry is a very positive industry. Generally speaking, you go to these rap competitions, people are helping each other, giving each other tips and tricks. You go on to the Rap Society, you go on to these other forums and pages, you go to shows, SEMA, RapsCon, ISA, Printing United, all of this. Everyone, it's like this brotherhood. It's always a brag about this brotherhood, this sisterhood. Yeah, the rap family. Like, it's all good. And it's like, why is that not emulated like online? Why is it so popular to be negative? And it's not, what I'm saying here is it's not in our nature as an industry to be negative. If you really take a step back and look at everything that's happening in our industry and how people truly are, there are some pieces of shit in any industry. There are. It just is what it is. You're going to have it's the nature of the beast of human nature, right?
Yep.
Those people get in their own little clique and they get blackballed from everyone else. Like, it just is what it is. Like that's how strong our industry is and how positive our industry is. Why is it that some of these people that are supposed to be positive influences, why is there so much negative? And my whole bring it back around. We are the change. Like, you have to be the change. You have to continue being positive. You have to see the positive and post about the positive and talk about the positive way before you talk about the negative. You just have to. And you have to be that change. Like, you, right? The person listening here going, man, I did post that negative thing about that person, or I did talk shit, like, stop, knock it off. Get positive, start posting about positive stuff. Like, it's easy. It's way easier to be positive than it is negative. You have to look a little harder, especially if you're trying to change your mindset. You have to look a little harder, but generally speaking, there's a lot of positive out there.
Well, it certainly feels a lot better. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Dude, if you bring positive out to the world, you get positive back. And that's a fact. That is a fact. That's a proven fact. I've lived my life like that for a long time. Listen, you're gonna see me talk shit. I'm no angel. You're gonna see me talk shit, but when I talk shit, it's because it needs to be done. It's not. There's so much positive coming from my posts and from me as a person that, like, if I am negative, there's a damn good reason for it.
Yeah, it's not coming from a place of jealousy. Like, I think most of it is that you see.
No, I think there is people out there. There are people out there that it does come from jealousy. I think the negativity comes from insecurities.
Yeah,
they're insecure about the position that they're in. They're in that process that everybody goes through, and every single person listening goes through this process. No matter if you've been in business for 1 day or 20 years, you're faking it till you make it. You are faking it till you make it, and you're in the process right now of faking it because you haven't made it. And you're sitting there and you're trying to let every single person around you think that you've made it, and you haven't. And you haven't. Your bank account says you haven't. Your team says you haven't. The business that you're bringing in says you haven't. How you run your company says you haven't. But you have this front up. And listen, I'm speaking from experience with this because I've been there. I understand what that's like. Take that insecurity and take that lack of confidence and spin it into a positive manner, because the sooner you do that, the better off you're going to be in the long run, and the more positive it's going to come back to you without question. But you have to be the change. Find the positive in things. Find the positive in things. If, I have an example of something like that. There was a guy on a forum that I'm in, didn't speak very good at English. And you could tell he needed help. Like, he was just looking for help. And he had a very broken English post. So I just literally typed on there. I was like, hey man, what's your native tongue? What is your native language? And he typed in what it was. So I went on Google Translate and typed in, this to English. And I typed in a long post and I just posted it in his language. And he was like, what the hell, dude? Thank you so much. Like he messaged me, he still messages me to this day. Like I saved his ass. You know what I mean? But it's like, there were 3 or 4 or 5 people like, look at this guy. Look at this dumbass. Can't even speak English. Like, how many languages do you speak?
Right. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you negative son of a bitch. Like, be positive. Try. The internet, like, you have to try to be a positive influence. If you try to be a positive influence, it's going to come back to you. Like, I'm a firm believer in karma. You treat people correctly, you get treated correctly. You do enough good, good comes back to you. You're nice to people, people are nice to you. You're going to get the 2%, 1% that are they're just assholes, man. It just is what it is. But the fact of the matter is you get what you put out. You put out negativity, you're going to get negativity back. And listen, it took me about 2 minutes to type in Google Translate, type in a paragraph, and then go back and forth with this guy, for 4 or 5 little posts. Like it was easy to do. And I just couldn't believe that there was, 4 or 5 people that were just like, oh, look at this dumbass. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Come on. It's just ridiculous to me. But again, it comes back to you being the change. Be empathetic with people, that's one of the biggest things. Be empathetic, everybody's been there. Everybody's faked it till they made it.
Right.
Or making it.
Well, just put yourself in the other person's shoes. It's easy to do.
Totally agree. Well, I think we're driving the point home here, and to kind of wrap up that sort of topic. I think that the negativity that we see in our industry is very much unneeded. But if you look at social media, you look at the media, you look at the press, you look at everything that's happening in the world, there's a lot of negativity, and it's very easy for that negativity that you feel in the world to you pick it up by osmosis. And it's not intentional a lot of the times, but what I'm asking is people just check themselves before you post that negative shit, before you go out there and you post something that could be misconstrued as negative. Like, put a positive spin on it. It's okay to constructively criticize somebody. It's okay to do that. But don't go out there and negatively criticize somebody and expect that you're going to get positivity back. And at the same time, the people that are getting criticized, like, listen, how about this? This podcast is new. We're going to get a ton of fucking criticism for this. Like, we just are. Because to be honest with you, I have no freaking clue what I'm doing. None. Okay. And I have a very bad problem of taking things personal. I just always have been like that. I'm insecure about how this is going to come off. I'm insecure about how this podcast is going to be perceived. But the fact of the matter is I know that I'm going to be good at this at some point, and I'm going to grind through this nasty, muddy water before I get to before I get good at this. And I know it's going to happen. But every single time someone calls into the podcast hotline, every single time I see someone at a show and they say, hey man, what do you think about this? How about you change this? Like, maybe upgrade your microphone, maybe look at this, or whatever it may be. Like, I'm going to take that all constructively, all of it, because I know I need it. I know I'm not an expert at this.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Super valuable. I love hearing that stuff. If someone's a jerk about it, sometimes that's not as fun. But
listen, I'm the first one to smack someone in the face if they come at me hot. Like, I'm the first one to do that. Like, but for real, like, I do my best to take stuff constructively.
Yeah, if they're cool about it, like that's the best feedback you could possibly get.
I agree. I absolutely agree. Episode 1 sent to a good buddy of mine on my team because I respect his opinion. Like, hey, listen to this, dude. I said, shoot me straight because I want to know. I know, you know what I mean? The things that people aren't good at, they need to be the culture behind it. The culture behind helping and being constructive to people needs to be there in a positive manner. Like, I would have never, I'm not going to send something I'm insecure about. I'm not going to send pictures of a mistake I made on a rap to someone I know is going to be a dick to me about it. You know what I mean? I'm going to send it or post it on a forum that I know I'm going to take constructive criticism from. Not like, right. Oh, look at this dumbass. Like, no, hey man, Maybe start your stretch a little earlier or post it here. How did you clean it? You know what I mean? Like all of that's constructive. Anyone that has anything to say about poking fun at people or anything like that, dude, I block that shit.
Yeah. So I guess it all comes down to intent and how you deliver it.
100%.
Right? It can make a big difference. It can either
100%.
help somebody or you could just be a hater and be an asshole.
No, I agree. I absolutely agree. And what we're asking is, and what I'm asking in particular is be a positive influence. Change how you perceive things, for one. Change how you post. Change how you criticize people. It's not, if you point out a problem that you see, that's not a problem to do that. But you have to point out a problem and then provide a solution. It's right, not just pointing out a problem, because then you're just bitching. Then you're just talking shit at that point. But if you say, "Hey, your body line popped up on this color change wrap," I think it's because maybe you didn't clean well enough. Did you clean with 70% isopropyl? Did you go back through? Did you stretch it in, feed it in? Did you post heat? Like, provide a list of possible solutions to the problem, not just point out the issue.
Yeah.
It's that easy to fix, though. Like, it's literally that simple to fix your negative perception or how people perceive you as negative. But just provide some value, provide solutions, not just bitch about a problem or point something out. So if you think it makes you look good because you get 1 or 2 likes on a negative post, like,
with a snarky comment.
Yeah, it's the 200 people that read it that think you're a dick.
Yeah. That
you need to be thinking about. That's a fact.
Well, and the same goes the other way too. When you're giving constructive criticism and you're trying to help and actually help the person fix the problem for next time, people see that too. And that's a good thing.
Yeah, but at the same time, that could be misconstrued too, as you're a know-it-all or something like that, So there's 2 sides to every story, but I would much rather DM somebody and say, "Hey man, I saw this post and I just want you to know here's my solution to this." Then, maybe I'm insecure about the solution I'm providing, but I want to provide constructive criticism, but maybe I don't know how it'll be perceived by everyone else because it's so, the whole feeling of everything is negative. So I'll DM somebody. You don't have to put stuff out on, forums where everyone can read it. Like, that's fine too. You get what you put out.
Yeah, that's probably the most tasteful way of going about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. But at the same time, telling the truth and being honest with somebody has been misconstrued as you being a bully or being negative, and that's a tough thing. That's a fine line to walk right now. But at the same time, if you point something out that's obviously a problem and you provide solutions to it, there's no harm, no foul in that. But if you don't, you're just being a bully, you're talking shit. But if you talk shit and then provide a solution, I think it can be understood completely differently. Completely.
Well, in that case, you're trying to help somebody, so it's not a bad thing.
I agree. And this again, we talked about it before. This industry by nature is kind to each other. This industry by nature is helping and accepts people with open arms. And I see a trend. I've seen a trend. And I start to see more and more people starting to knock off onto that trend of more negativity than normal. And I just want to see it changed. And the only way to get change is to bring it up and talk about it. And here it is. Episode 2 of the WrapIQ podcast. We're talking about this. That's how important it is to me.
Well said. Hey, I got a voicemail here. You want to jump into a voicemail and answer a question?
Yes. All right. So guys, this is from the WrapIQ podcast hotline. Blake, why don't you say the number, because apparently I suck at remembering the number and I just post it to my social media wrong all the time. So Why don't you remind me?
Well, the number is 314-596-2676. And I'll also have the phone number in the show notes of the podcast so you can pull it up there. You don't need to remember it.
Awesome.
For everyone.
All right, play it.
Hi, I'm calling from Connecticut. My name's Petros. So the question that I actually had my car wrapped about a year ago, and the job came out pretty nice. The only thing that I noticed a couple of months down the line was that there was knife marks deep in the paint in the door jambs. So obviously, first glance, you don't see that, but once the doors were open, I saw a lot of knife marks. It looked like they cut some corners, and or just kind of being sloppy about their work. So my question is this something you should expect when getting your car wrapped, or will a professional shop not ever put a knife to your paint? That's my question. Thank you so much.
Petros, dude, thank you very much for calling in. Hey, when you listen to this podcast, call back and leave your address. I want to send you a little swag bag of WrapIQ stuff, so that way, just to say thanks for being the first the first voicemail.
No.
What is it?
Yeah.
What is it? What's it called?
Voicemail.
Yeah, voicemail. But dude, no, my goodness, no, you should not have cuts in your paint. I think I understand what happened to your vehicle. If it was in the door jamb, they either trimmed the actual vinyl on your paint inside the actual door jamb, or when they were cutting along the edge of the door, their knife blade was just extended too far, and that in turn cut into your paint. The truth is, the bottom line is, no, you should never have cuts in your paint ever. Skilled vehicle wrap installation specialists know these things. They know blade pressure. They know about knifeless tape. They know about all these things that help in reducing or eliminating cuts into the paint. And for you to have cuts in your paint is it's absolutely not normal. And what I would do is I would go back to that shop, depending on how long it's been. They may not be in business any longer, but if they are, and they're the only ones that ever have touched your car when it comes to vehicle wrapping, I would take it back to them. I would address the situation. I wouldn't come in hot at all. Don't come in cussing or mad. Come in there and say, "Hey, listen, man, I've done some research on this, and this is very, very, very wrong and incorrect," and just put it in their back in their court, and just say, "How are you going to fix this?" and see how they respond. And if they say, "Oh, well, that's normal," I'm telling you right now, it's not normal. And anyone that has any experience in this industry knows it's not normal to have cut paint.
Okay, and then from the shop's point of view, how should the shop respond?
They should fix it. First and foremost, they should look at their work order and figure out who the installer was on that job, and they should address it with the installer right off the bat, and don't be aggressive and mistakes happen. Okay, mistakes happen. It just is what it is. But at the same time, if the person that did the installation doesn't have good knife skills, just have them squeegee stuff. There are installers, there are install companies all around the country that all they do when they're bringing up their installers during training, they don't even give them a knife, because there's so much damage that can happen. You're talking about a razor knife, a razor blade on very soft automotive paint, or very soft rubber or glass for window tinting. Like when I first started window tinting, dude, I had to replace like 3 black back windows on like the big back windows on vehicles, because I cut too deep with a 30-degree blade on tint, because I was a dumbass and I didn't know any better. That needed to be fixed. I had to replace back windows. But at the same time, the shops need to be constructive about it, but they need to fix it. It's their fault. It's their problem. And that can be a very expensive fix, because it needs to be done professionally.
Agreed.
But
sounds like a roll of knifeless tape would have been cheaper.
Well, I agree. I think, again, those two little, scenarios I described. Number one is if they probably forgot to put knifeless in, or didn't have knifeless and ran it in the door jamb. So when they closed the door, they couldn't see the painted surface, and then they just scored that vinyl and they did it too deep, which shouldn't be done nowadays with knifeless tape. It just shouldn't be done that way. That's one issue. Or if the door was closed and the person was flush cutting the door and they ran their blade in too deep. I see it on commercial wraps all the time. I see that more on commercial wraps than I do color change wraps, because a lot of times people, trim a little excess and wrap it around the edge, or they 180 cut it or something. So yeah, but the bottom line is, no, it should not ever happen. And take it back, be constructive with them, be nice to them, give them a chance to fix it. I always tell people, man, don't judge me on my mistakes. Judge me on how I fix the mistakes. Because I make mistakes. My company makes mistakes. Don't judge me on how I made them, or don't judge me on the mistake I made. Judge me on how I fixed the mistake. Because shit happens. That's human nature.
All right. You want another one? We got one more for you.
One more. Let's do one more.
All right.
Hola, this is Hugo de California. Quiero saber algo. Quiero como entrar con su compañía para hacer como bien trabajos y todo eso. I'm just kidding with you guys. I do speak.
There it is.
This is Hugo over here in California, Costa Mesa, California. And how do you guys deal with people that constantly keep saying that they're the best type of wrap installers, yet they fuck up the wrap completely each time, and then you try to, post the pictures on your Instagram, and you try to explain to people that, you can't be doing such shady work, and try to explain to them that, you got to take the classes. It's not to demeaning them, but how do you deal with people that are so stubborn to that extent that they don't want to take the actual classes and listen to people that are in the industry for a lot longer than 5 to 8 years? So if you definitely can answer that for me, greatly appreciate it.
Interesting.
Thank you. Keep on doing what you guys are doing on your Instagram. I love it. Have a great day. Bye.
Right on, brother. Thank you for calling in. Again, call back and give us your address. I'll send you a little swag bag. Just because it's first episode. I'm not going to do that with everybody, but I will. I'll knock it out for the first episode.
Yeah, you're setting a dangerous precedent there,
dude. I know. I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like, fuck. If I'm 1,000 people calling in, I'm going to be get $10,000 in swag. This is a tough one. I see two sides of this. If you want to know the truth, I see the side of it as someone, that whole fake it till we make it thing that people that we talked about earlier in the podcast, these people are just trying to make it, and their ego is really an insecurity, that they're trying to fake it till they make it. And they think that the more experience they get, the better they're going to get. And hopefully they don't do enough damage to their reputation in the time that they're climbing that ladder, to make it, and that's understanding. But I mean, that stubbornness and that hard-headedness, it can be annoying, it can be annoying, but the bottom line is actions speak a lot louder than words. When it comes to quality, and when it comes to, what people are installing and how they're installing and what their end product looks like, but at the same time, the ego of the people that are experienced, instead of saying, wow, man, this guy's on my turf and he's not, they're not as good as they say they are. Well, why don't you give them a call, take them to lunch, have a beer, talk about it. Say, hey man, why don't you, I see that you're bragging that you're awesome, and you're really not. Like, let's work together. Let's get you better. Let's raise the quality and raise the standard for our entire market, as opposed to just stepping on my turf, quote unquote. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta be constructive with that as well. So I think there's two sides to that. I think the one side is some people are just starting out and they're faking it till they make it, and maybe they'll do so much damage to the reputation that they go away. But at the same side, some of these veterans in here, some that are doing it 5, 7, 8 years, we need to help those guys come up. And that's my thoughts on it. Two sides.
Like we wrapped right back around to positivity, hitting them with positivity.
Yeah. We got to stop doing this whole, like, let's wrap it up. Look, we wrapped right around to this. Like, that's fucking stupid. We got
totally an accident.
we got that shit's got to stop. I'm sorry.
Circled back around. How about that?
There it is.
Sorry.
There it is. All right. What do you think? Final thoughts?
Final thoughts. I think be positive. It's easy to be negative, but find the positive in it and stick to that. It makes you happy.
I agree, man. I think that generally speaking, people are positive people. People want to bring positivity. Whatever you put out there in the world comes right back to you, and listen, I did not live that way for a very long time. And in my life, I have learned that being that positive light is not the most popular thing all the time. It's a hard thing. You're a one man wolf pack sometimes, and you just you got to do what is right in your heart. And 9 times out of 10, being that positive influence is what's right. And you're going to stand alone. But there are people like me. There's people like Blake. There's people like, many of these other influencers in our industries that agree with that. And they're going to continue being that positive influence. And as you become a more positive influence, more people are going to flock to you. I guarantee it. So put it out there positively, and you're going to get it back. I promise you that. All right? Thanks, guys. Get after it today. Much love, man. Talk to you soon. Hey, guys, real talk here. I want to give a very sincere thank you to Avery Dennison and Wrapglove for sponsoring the show since day one. It means the world to the WrapIQ podcast team to have the support of such amazing companies. You can find Avery Dennison online at averydennison.com and Wrapglove online at wrapglove.com. Please show support to the sponsors that support our industries. We cannot do this show without the support of our listeners, so thank you. If you found value in this podcast, I ask you to do two things. Number one, please subscribe to the podcast. And number two, and most importantly, leave us an honest rating and review on iTunes. All right, guys. Thanks again. Get after it today. Much love. We'll talk to you soon. Talk to you soon. Talk to you soon. Talk to you soon.